Welcome to the Nailed It Builds RV Hack Attack. I got 4 hacks for you. They're going to make your camping experience a little bit better. So, let's get right into it. But before we do that, say it with me. Let's get... That was a bad idea. It's in the beard. Dusty. This is the number one most important hack that I'm going to show you to do. This is so important that I haven't even started this video, haven't even worked on it, but I just got to get this done like right away. So this is the cover to the back side of the fridge. This is what sits on the outside of the camper. I also had one on my furnace in the last camper too. So if you have these kind of covers, sit like this, like this, and they allow the vents from the fridge and the furnace. Problem is if you look, I can get my fingers through there. These are wide open. My last camper, I actually had mice crawling through there and cost me $200 in electrical repairs. That's why this is the most number one important thing. I'm going to put some aluminum mesh screen on the back. I'm going to glue it on. That's what I did in the last camper. Had 0 problems with mice after that. That's what I'm doing on this. So if you are getting your camper or you have one, absolutely recommend doing that if you have these kind of louver problems, because mice can easily get in there. I pulled this off. Already had evidence of some critters in there. So let's do that. Before I even start cutting this, real quick disclaimer on this. I would always recommend using the aluminum screen, because if you use the fiberglass screen, I don't know how hot it gets. So I don't know if you could run into some more problems online. I always use the aluminum. This is actually what I have left over from the last camper. Alright, as you can see, not the prettiest looking thing, but this is the inside, so you won't be seeing it. I just used hot glue because of how quickly it dries and how easy it is to really work with when you're trying to kind of shape the screen on. But the main thing is just making sure you get all of the little voids and areas so that nothing can get inside past it. As you can see, once the screen is in, you can't even see it unless you look up. But now you ain't got to worry about any mice. Alright, so this hack is going to be to add some countertop space. Most RVs don't have a lot of countertop space, but they do have this giant gaping hole right here called the sink. And a lot of RVs, I believe, do actually have these that go with them, but my RV did not. My last RV did not. So I'm going to finally make one. As you can see, I have a lip that runs all the way around the perimeter of the sink. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of 1/4-inch plywood. I have some Formica left over from a previous thing I've done. So I'm going to contact cement those together. And then I will be able to drop that in here, and I will add countertop space. Pretty simple. Okay, so it's all cut, size, and it fits in. We did talk about making it into a cutting board, but we have cutting boards we bring with, so didn't do that. The other thing of advice I'm going to tell you is put one of these in there. Give yourself a little finger hole. Whether you do a hole or just a notch, that way it's easier to get out, because once you get a nice fit in there, you're going to kind of struggle. You might struggle to get it out. Alright, working with Formica. If you don't know what Formica is, it's the stuff that is glued to your top of your countertops. So the way I was taught is you take a fine-tooth blade on your table saw and you flip the blade backwards, and that helps prevent some chipping, stuff like that. I was also told that you run it with your pattern actually down, or your reveal side down. Again, I don't know. I was just taught to do it this way. And another thing is I'm going to use my router afterwards to clean it up, so you're going to cut it big. So that's just what I've done this over a dozen times. It's worked for me, so that's the way that I know to do it. Is fine-tooth blade backwards, and your material is upside down. The only time that you really have to realize that is if you're doing countertops, when you flip your pattern, remember that you flipped your pattern. I've been there. I've done that. Let's cut this up, and then we'll glue it on. Okay, so now when you're going to apply your Formica to your board, contact cement. If you've never used contact cement, I'll read the instructions on it. Most importantly, get yourself some good ventilation, because this stuff is very strong. So what you're going to do is you're going to coat both sides nice and evenly, and then you're going to let it dry. And once it's dry, you will adhere them together. Why is that? I don't know. But they have to be, both have to be dry. If you do it wet, it doesn't seem to work. So I'm going to coat these up, let them dry, and we'll contact them together with cement. Contact cement. It's dry. This one is dry. You can tell it's got a glossy look. That means it got good coverage on it. Because you're going to overlap, it really doesn't matter, and there's no pattern. So, and then just nice firm pressure all the way around. Kind of working out any air bubbles, getting a nice tight bond on that. And then you're good to go. We'll trim it off. If you don't have a roller, just give her one of those. And once you've got it routed out, just take a quick sand around the edges so they won't be sharp. And just like that much more countertop space. One quick thing with the sink insert. If you're going to use pine like I did, keep in mind that pine is going to really absorb the water. Even with the Thompsons on it, it seemed to have absorbed it. And I got just a small little bow. It's still really easy to take care of, but maybe go with more of a cutting board material type thing. One thing that I recommended to my wife to stop it from bowing was to not keep it over the sinks, because that moisture in the traps from the sinks, I think, was coming up and it was causing it to bow. Not a big deal. I'm not saying it turned into a letter C. It just teeter-totters it a little bit, but it still works. We've now went camping 3 times with it, and she loves it. She puts it in the sink, and then if she doesn't want it in the sink, she puts it over on the stove. Don't have the stove running, but she puts it on the stove, and that kind of also adds to that countertop. Just wanted some honesty on that. Alright, so this is what the next hack has to do with. It's the little storage area underneath. As you can see, everything is thrown in here. I got extension cords, we got little lights, I got the grill cleaner, I got pans, I got all the cooking utensil stuff for them to fire under here. So I'm going to organize this. Let's do it. This whole hack is basically build what you need. And I know what I need, but I don't really know what I'm doing here. So you can watch me figure it out. Let's go super speed. Alright, so this is where it gets a little cozy. Again, you can literally do whatever it is you want. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add a drop down shelf that I'm going to actually put all like the s'more sticks, hot dog sticks, whatever the grate thing that I have that goes over the fire. I'm going to put that up here, and what that'll do is it'll keep me from dragging the mats, the camping whatever, mats or whatever. I'll keep it from dragging all over all of the cooked old food and stuff that's on those things. So I'm going to do that first. And these were super easy to do. Literally just made some U's, nothing crazy. And I'm just gonna suspend them from up here, do one back there, one up here. Alright, so as you can see, just some scrap wood and some screws goes a long way on this project. And this project is going to completely vary for you depending on what you want to bring and the setup that you want. For me, everything that I use for setup and takedown, I guess, would be on the other side because I'm only going to need those twice. Everything that I'm going to use while we're camping, like all the cooking tools or the fire starter stuff, that all stays on this side because this will be a lot easier to access. Now, like I said, it was screws and scrap wood. You could go crazier and you could go and use these kind of straps and stuff that they used, and you could use these little hooks with the rubberized stuff on them. You could go nice and do all that, but screws and some scrap wood go a long way. There's really no reason to not do this because when you do this, it's way easier to keep clean and it's way easier for you to look and go, okay, there's something missing. What am I missing before you go camping? Okay, and so for this hack, we're going to go to the water heater. Now, after every use, you want to drain your water heater because if not, you're going to basically end up with stagnant water in there. And the way that mine does is by this little plastic plug that's kind of a pain in the butt up in there, in and out, kind of a pain. So I'm going to attempt, I've never done this, I'm going to attempt to make its own drain with a little bit of the CPVC. First thing is I'm going to take this CPVC male threaded to, you could insert the PVC pipe into this. This is a 1/2 inch. I'm going to put some Teflon tape on this, and then I'm going to screw it into the hose area. Now I'm going to need 2 little pieces of pipe, basically act as nipples, little nipples. I need 2 of them. So pipe cutter, and we're just going to, I don't know if this is really for PVC, this cutter, but it works, so we're going to use it. There's one of my little nipples. And that looks like a good sized nipple right there. So we will nipple this one up. Alright, now as you can see, I got 2 little nipples. So let me kind of run you through what we got here for this. I dry fitted it and it looks like it's going to work. So I have this, and this is all CPVC here, but it's a 1/2 inch through valve, I'll call it. I ended up having to cut off this one end here. It did look like this to make it actually fit. So that's actually going to be what drains the water heater. You're going to need a little pipe. I had to buy a 10-foot section of pipe only to find out that I had a little pipe left over. So you need 2 nipples. And you want these nipples to be small enough to basically just join the pieces completely. You want to make this thing as small as possible. So you want enough that it will seal, but not too much where you see any of the actual pipe. A 90-degree elbow. Again, this is all 1/2 inch. And then I have this. It's a 1/2 inch 45 elbow, but this side will actually insert into the part that I already put on the water heater, which was that plastic with the male threaded end to the female fitting to receive this. So I'm going to glue this up. If you don't know how to glue CPVC, it's the same as PVC. And if you don't know how to do that, it's primer first and then the actual glue. Primer is purple and the cement is this color. So I'm gonna do that. This might just be for PVC, so I might actually have to do some CPVC stuff. But that is all you need. So I'm gonna glue it up, and then we'll take a look. Real quick disclaimer. Apparently, I googled it. You cannot use the PVC. No, that's primer. The PVC cement on CPVC. You have to go to the store and buy CPVC cement. So you know. Crank that bad boy open, and there you go. Seeing how successful this actually is, because it's literally a twist and it's off, twist and it's on. Way better than trying to deal with the plug and this stupid little shield in the way. Disclaimer here, what I would still do is I would recommend taking and keeping a hacksaw blade with you, just in case this system does fail. You can cut it, because you're not going to be able to take it off by hand. You have to cut it and unscrew it out, and then I would keep that little plug. There you have it. There are my 4 camper hacks. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you use these, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.